It starts with a soft, rhythmic thumping. Thump, 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 thump. It's the sound of being alive, a gentle metronome counting out the seconds of a life. For David, it was the last sound he remembered before everything went wrong. He once told me the sound was comforting, like a lullaby from a forgotten childhood. But then, in his dream, the beat began to slow. Thump, thump, thump. It grew fainter, as if the drummer was walking away, leaving him alone in a vast, silent emptiness. The world outside the sound began to twist into something terrifying. Then came the noise, a violent screech of metal on metal that shattered the quiet rhythm. The gentle thumping stopped. Abruptly. In its place, shattering glass, a percussive explosion, the world breaking apart. He felt a lurch, a violent shove, the sensation of falling. Not down, but sideways. A sickening, uncontrolled spin into darkness, fractured light and twisted metal flashing by. He woke up gasping, heart hammering, sheets twisted and soaked with sweat. The dream was so vivid, so real that for a few moments he couldn't be sure he was awake. He could still feel the phantom seatbelt smell, burnt rubber and something coppery. The silence of his bedroom was a stark contrast to the chaos he'd just experienced. The dream clung to him, its details etched into his memory. It wasn't just a nightmare. David had nightmares before, fleeting things that vanished with the morning light. This was different. This felt like a memory of something that hadn't happened yet. He tried to dismiss it as stress or a late-night snack, but the feeling lingered. A cold knot of dread settled in his stomach. The sound of his own heartbeat, now steady, was no longer a comfort. It was a reminder, a countdown. Thump, thump. Each beat a step closer to something he couldn't name but deeply feared. David recounted the dream to me over coffee, his hands trembling as he held the mug. He spoke in a low voice, as if saying the words might make them real. The dream began in monochrome, a washed-out gray landscape through a car windscreen. He was driving, but couldn't feel his hands on the wheel. The road was unfamiliar, flanked by skeletal trees and heavy mist. Only the soft, rhythmic heartbeat broke the silence. Then, a flash of brilliant red, a red car, a blur against the gray. He felt no panic, only a sense of inevitability, as if watching a scene already written. He saw the red car's trajectory, knew it would hit his passenger side, and did nothing. The moment of impact was silent, glass shattering in a deadly dance. The world tilted, the car rolling in slow motion. Gray sky and dark asphalt swapped places, a dizzying waltz. Through the shattered window, flashes of green and brown, then crimson. Not the car, but a warm trickle on his forehead, blooming across the pale fabric. The world came to a stop, upside down. He hung there, suspended by his seatbelt, looking at the world from an impossible angle. The heartbeat faded, each beat slower and softer. As the last faint heartbeat echoed into silence, he woke up, details chillingly vivid, refusing to fade. The weeks after the dream were strange. David tried to live normally, but the nightmare wouldn't stay buried. Little things triggered the memory. A red car in his rear view, a misty morning. He started avoiding country roads, sticking to familiar streets. He told his wife Sarah about the dream. She was practical. "It's just anxiety, love. You've been stressed." The doctor agreed. Stress, anxiety, the mind's tricks. He was prescribed sedatives but feared dreaming again. The dream became a passenger in his mind. Déjà vu became constant, a gut-wrenching certainty he was on a pre-written path. Driving, he'd see a bend in the road, a line of trees, uncannily familiar. He'd never been there, yet he knew it. Each moment felt like a signpost, pointing toward the dream's grim conclusion. He tried to fight it. Different routes to work, sold his gray car for a blue hatchback. He thought changing the details could change the outcome. For a while it seemed to work. The déjà vu lessened. He slept better, convinced it was just a dream, a trick of a tired mind. But the feeling never truly left. He was haunted, not by a ghost, but by a premonition that felt terrifyingly real. He started to feel like a character in a story, unable to deviate from the script. The sense of inevitability grew. He clung to hope, but deep down he knew. The dream was waiting. He was wrong to think he could escape it. The day it happened was unremarkable, a Tuesday, overcast, threatening rain. David was driving to a client meeting in a town he'd never visited. Running late, he took a detour down winding country lanes. In his new blue car, anxious but focused. The landscape blurred by, roads slick from drizzle, mist rising from the fields. He didn't see it coming. Navigating a sharp blind corner, his attention on the road. From a hidden farm track, a flash of red, a vintage sports car, its driver too confident on the wet lane. David's mind froze. The red car, the mist, The trees. It wasn't just similar to the dream, it was identical. Deja vu hit like a physical blow. Time slowed. He saw the other driver's face, his own hands frozen on the wheel. No screech of tires, no horn, just suspended silence as the vehicles met. The script was being followed. The impact of violent force on the passenger side. The world exploded in glass and metal. His car thrown from the road, rolling over and over. Sky, earth, sky, earth. Flashes of green and brown through shattered windows. Sharp pain in his forehead, something warm trickling down. The car came to rest upside down. Hanging by his seatbelt, the world askew. Thump, thump, his own heartbeat fading. To a skeptic, David's story isn't fate, it's the brain at work. The most common explanation, retrofitting. David didn't dream the accident in perfect detail. After the crash, his mind filled in the blanks, sharpening the dream to match reality. The brain created a narrative of premonition because random tragedy is harder to accept. Another theory, confirmation bias. After the nightmare, David noticed red cars, misty mornings, winding roads, priming himself to see the dream everywhere. When the accident happened, it wasn't prophecy, it was a psychological trap. The circumstances, a blind corner, a red car, are tragically common. To the skeptic, the story is about the mind's power to construct reality. The dream didn't predict the future, it colored David's perception, making coincidence feel like destiny. The magic, they'd say, is all in his head. For the spiritual, David's story is evidence, a glimpse into a larger design. The dream wasn't anxiety but a message, a warning or perhaps a preparation. The universe showed him the final page of his chapter. Proponents point to countless stories of premonitory dreams, a collective unconscious, a realm where time isn't linear. In dreams, our deeper intuition accesses this timeless space. David's dream was a connection to his own timeline, a look ahead at a fixed point. He couldn't change the outcome, his efforts were free will clashing with destiny. The dream wasn't to be avoided, but to prepare him, easing the shock of his final moments. When the crash happened, his soul recognized the scene passing with calm acceptance. For the believer, the dream is sacred communication, a reminder that we may perceive more than we know. Between skepticism and belief lies fringe science. Researchers ask, could there be a physical mechanism for premonition? Quantum physics suggests all of time may exist simultaneously, the block universe model. Perhaps the brain, in altered states like dreaming, accesses information from other points in space-time. David's dream could have been a random leak from his own future. Some study the brain's electromagnetic fields, wondering if we sense more than we know. Experiments hint our physiology reacts to events before they happen, the presentiment effect. Mainstream science is skeptical, but the questions persist. David's story is one of thousands. Science's job is to follow the evidence. Maybe one day premonition will be as explainable as memory or sight. Beyond psychology and physics lies metaphysics, the study of being and reality. Is the world solid and objective, or shaped by consciousness? Idealism suggests reality is mental. Dreams and reality are two sides of the same coin. David's dream wasn't a prediction, but the first draft of an event his mind would later manifest. Perhaps our lives are like a movie already filmed, experienced frame by frame. The dream was a trailer for his final scene, spliced into his awareness ahead of time. Metaphysics doesn't seek proof, but uses stories like David's to probe the nature of reality. Was he a victim of fate, or a co-creator of his own end? The questions remain. In the end, we're left with a story chilling, compelling, and deeply human. We can analyze it, label it psychology, fate, or quantum physics, but David's story resists easy answers. The skeptic whispers coincidence, the believer sees destiny. The power of David's experience lies in the questions it forces us to ask. It challenges our understanding of reality, time, and consciousness. We assume dreams are just theater, time flows forward and the world outside is separate from our minds. David's story fractures those assumptions. What is the true nature of time? Is consciousness more than neural activity? We may never know what really happened. All we have is the account, a story at the nexus of the surreal and the real. Perhaps stories like this aren't meant to be solved, but contemplated. And they leave us with the most profound question of all: what is real?